All right, so Season 3 patch notes just dropped. Bryan got buffed. I'm hella happy. I'm going to try and make a concise video explaining all of the changes. I'm going to avoid the useless ones. So the first one is a change to his rage drive. Who cares? This isn't a problem. At least it wasn't for me. I don't know if anybody else had problems trying to do rage drive out of running, but why would you try to do that? I don't know. The second change, you'll see Jimmy do this sometimes. He'll do quarter circle forward 4-1 and then cancel it and immediately do 3+4. So what I think the thought process behind this is the opponent tries to duck the high, and then when they try to duck the high, the 3+4 or the 1+2, I guess in this situation, comes out pretty quickly. So let me try and demonstrate it here. Like that, right? And I guess what they're trying to do is make it so that you can't do that. They're reducing the speed at which the 3+4 will come out or the 1+2 will come out. It doesn't say anything about changing that, the speed of which something like down forward 1 comes out. So, or down forward 2 or down 2 or down back 2 or anything like that. So I don't really know what this change is meant to accomplish, but I guess it's a nerf nonetheless. It's not a, doesn't break the character and make him like bottom tier or anything though, so who cares. So first big change, it's not that big, it's like a medium-sized change. I'm exaggerating a bit here. 2-3. So this move was changed in Season 2. It increased the, what did it do? It increased the distance between the characters on hit. So this used to leave the opponent closer if I remember correctly, but now it leaves them pretty far away. 2-3 is +6 on hit, so if I try to do forward 3 and my opponent just stands there, it will frame trap them. However, because my opponent isn't, stupid, they're going to backdash, the forward 3 is going to whiff, and most of my other mid options that are fast enough are, they're going to hit at like the very tip range. If not, they just straight up whiff if I'm fighting against somebody like Elisa or Eddie or something like that, somebody with a really good backdash. But now in Season 3, this is going to leave them closer, which is awesome, because that means that now I can actually choose to take my +6 and apply pressure or do whatever else I want to do, right? My opponent can't just backdash out of my pressure or like, I don't know, bait me in to swing, basically, right? They're going to be closer to me, which is nice. I can actually utilize that +6 because that's one of Bryan's biggest problems right now. Number one, he doesn't get a whole lot of plus frames on hit. And number two, even when he does, the opponent is pushed away from him. So he can't actually really make use of it at all. So this is a nice change. What else did they do to the standing 2? Oh yeah, they decreased the pushback on this, which, I mean, whatever. Hopefully, what I would have liked to see with this move is that they increased the range on standing 2. So that way, this can actually become a reliable 10-frame punish. Because a lot of the times when you try to punish something that's like, let's say, -12, you have to use forward 1-4 because 2-3 just won't reach. So, unfortunately, we didn't get it. I don't know, maybe there'll be a Season 4 and they'll buff that. Who knows? Okay, this is the first big change. Pretty big. The change to 4-3-4, and the change to 4-3 in particular. So right now, let me explain why this is pretty big. Right now, Bryan does not have a reliable way to punish wake-up mid-kicks compared to like the rest of the cast. So let me just show you here. The wake-up mid-kick from a face-up feet toward position is -12. Bryan's only -12, or Bryan's only 12-frame button is standing 4. He has obviously 4-3-4 or 4-3 forward 4, but 4-3 right now does not combo on normal hit, right? And that's -10. So what that means is that right now, if Bryan wants to punish a wake-up mid-kick, his only options are 1-4, which doesn't reach unless their back is to the wall, 2-3, which doesn't reach, I think even if their back is to the wall, and standing 4, which is 15 damage. But now, in Season 3, he's going to have 4-3, which is 27 damage, and that's pretty good. So let me just demonstrate what I'm talking about here. That's going to work now. Additionally, he's going to have a higher damage option to punish hop kicks if he chooses. The downside is that instead of 4-3 being +4 like it is right now, in Season 3 it's only going to be +2. So now you're going to have to choose. If I block a hop kick, do I want to use down forward 2-1 and get 23 damage at +4, or do I want to use 4-3, get 27 damage at +2? If the opponent is about to die, maybe you use 4-3, I don't know. It's not that big of a deal in terms of like the hop kick stuff, but in terms of the wake up mid kicks, that's awesome. Because now he can actually fucking punish them, and your opponent just doesn't mash buttons on wake up. The other change that they did, this is to the full string 4-3-4. They reduced the recovery of the string by 3 frames, which means that being able to dash in and get your ender off of his new combos is going to be much more consistent. What you'll see a lot of the times is that Bryan players like Jimmy or Nee or anybody that plays Bryan, when they do the new combo or they just do 4-3-4 as the screw, sometimes what will happen is you either have to really, really, really dash in there, and sometimes you won't get the cross bazooka, the second hit of cross bazooka to hit, or what will happen is you mistime the dash, and what that means is that Bryan just stands there because you mistimed it. So now that it's going to recover 3 frames faster, it's going to make landing his combos much more consistent, which is awesome. Here's the next big change, and that's to down 2. Where did my mouse cursor go? There we go. All right. So down 2, they changed the damage from 14 to 17. So this is going to deal 17 damage, 3 more points. They're changing the frame advantage on hit from +1 to +8. Now, this move right now is 14 frame startup, +1 on hit, and I believe 0 to -2 on block. Bryan doesn't have a standard down forward 2 poke. I mean, down forward 1 poke, like every other character has, like Heihachi, for example. Heihachi's down forward 1, I believe, is like +9 or +8 on hit and -1 on block. Bryan doesn't have this. His down forward 1 is machine gun punches, which is unsafe after the first hit. Down forward 2, which is, I believe, -6 on block and +5 on hit, if I'm not mistaken, and it has the mind game here, right? But now, in Season 3, they've given him down 2, which is 1 frame slower than a standard down forward 1, but all of the other properties are essentially the same, with the added bonus of forcing my opponent into full crouch at +8. Bryan forces his opponent into full crouch at +8. I can do this. I can do this. I can let the second hit rip. I can do this into this because Heihachi can only sidestep into the background, which means this will catch him. And it's a frame trap. I can do this, which I believe frame traps as well. It's just a really, 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 really good move now. I don't see too many Bryan players use down 2 as it stands right now. The only one that I see use this move is Jimmy. But he doesn't even use it that often, really. He uses it a lot, but not... He uses it more than the average Bryan player, which means he just fucking uses it, because most Bryan players don't use it. And this move is also very important to consider when we look at the changes to back 1. And we'll get into that in a second. I'll come back to this move. The next change. Down 4. From 11 to 13 damage. Awesome. This is a solid low. It has good range. It pushes the opponent out. I can push my opponent out and then throw out like a 3+4 if they try to come in on me, right? Or do down 4 into Mach kick or something like that. Whatever. Just a nice change. Down 1+2, we're just going to skip that because nobody gives a fuck about that move. That move is never used. Alright, here we go. Back 1. So a lot of people, when Season 2 dropped, they're like, oh my god, Bryan's back 1 is +7 on hit now. Oh my god, he's so strong. Like, dude, when you see Bryan players throw out back 1, it's not meant to hit you. Alright? This move is not meant to hit you. It's not meant to hit you. It's meant to either counter hit you, or, more importantly, and more often, to make you block. You're meant to block this move. I want you to block this so that I get my +3, and then I can take my turn. The issue with this move, though, and what a lot of people fail to realize when they try to say that back 1 is super oppressive and so strong and this, that, and the other, is that once you understand how to deal with this move, it's not that big of a deal. Number 1, it's super slow. Number 2, it's super linear. Number 3, +3 for Bryan is like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. His only option off of +3 is jabs, which are highs, his standing 4, which are highs, or down forward 2, which is a mid, right? That's why you see players use down 1. They block the back 1 and they down 1. Why? Because it beats the jab, it beats the standing 4, and it trades with the down forward 2. The other option that you see players use is to sidestep block, right? I sidestep block, I avoid the jabs, I avoid the standing 4, I avoid the down forward 2, and it forces Bryan to use down forward 1. If I'm playing a character like Shaheen, I can use that to my advantage because there will be a 2-frame gap there. My magic 4 is 11 frames, which means that if Bryan tries to use down forward 1 and I read it, I counter hit launch him with my magic 4. However, now in Season 3, back 1 is +4 on block. Now this is a worthwhile change. This is a notable change. +7 on hit, who gives a fuck? +4 on block, that's awesome. Why? Because this whole thing that I was just talking about, right, where my opponent blocks it and then just down ones and trades, or down ones and crushes my my jabs or my standing four or whatever, it's not gonna happen anymore. You can't do that. I mean, you can still crush the jabs, right? But you can't trade with a down forward 2. You have to eat it. Now you can sidestep to avoid the down forward 2, but going back to what I was talking about earlier with down 2, remember, back 1 is +4 now, down 2 is 14 frames, which means this is a true frame trap. It will trade with a jab. And additionally, down 2 tracks in that direction. Bryan, my Bryan, the Bryan that I'm controlling, is now -8 in a full crouch state. That's pretty good. That's hella good. Was there anything else that I'm forgetting to? Oh yeah, the other thing that I forgot to mention. So going back with what I was talking about with Shaheen, I'm not even going to bother switching. Fuck it. It's going to take too long. So, like I said, Shaheen has an 11 frame Magic 4, I believe. Kazumi has one too. Law, Katarina. There's a ton of characters that have 11 frame Magic 4s, right? Right now, if Bryan does back 1 into down forward 1, their Magic 4 will beat me. I get counter hit launched. Season 3, their Magic 4 will trade, and I don't know if they'll be able to recover in time to actually get the combo. They might, but at the very least, if my opponent wants to do that, they're going to take some damage for it, right? I can just throw it out, and if they try to do the Magic 4, then it's going to, it's at least going to trade. That's the point, right? So they can't just do this because they want to. They actually have to consider what I've done in the past and actually think about my options. They can't just sidestep, force me to use down forward 1 or 1+2 or Mach kick and then counter hit me with their Magic 4. And they can't use down 1 anymore, so now your option is to sidestep guard or backdash or something like that. Because remember, like I said, down 2 now, it has always tracked, as you can see right now, it always tracked to Bryan's left, so sidestep right loses to down 2. Now the question is this, I'm not really sure if this works. Let's just do this. Okay, down 2 will, chase you down if you try to backdash. The other change I forgot to mention in down 2 is that it decreases the distance between both players. So right now on block, when it hits, my bad. So right now on hit, right, it pushes Bryan kind of far away. So if they didn't change this thing about it keeping them closer, down 2 would effectively be in the same situation that 2-3 is currently in. Where, yes, I am +8. Let's pretend that this move is +8. I'm at +8, but my opponent can backdash, and if I want to frame trap with this, I can't, because it's going to whiff. But because now this move is going to leave my opponent closer when it hits, this will actually be a viable option, I imagine. That's pretty good. I'm pretty happy about that. So down 2, Bryan players, abuse that shit. Down 2 is going to be hella good now. Alright, keep that in mind. Back 1 is going to be better too. So no more down 1, just mindlessly, and forcing me to do an orbital or sidestep into something. You've got to respect it. You actually have to respect the frame data now. You have to sidestep or you just have to block. That's it. Those are your options. No more of this nonsense. So that's sick. Alright, next change. Mach breaker. From -10 to -9, who cares? Shorten the recovery animation, who cares? Mach kick. Okay, so now they're going to be closer. I didn't mean to key charge. They're going to be closer, which means that getting this is going to be much more consistent. I didn't want to do that. If you hit this at tip range, right, you can't do that. But now you will be able to do that, I imagine. Additionally, because it leaves them closer off of Mach kick, one of the other changes that they have listed here is that off of this, they're also going to be closer, which means that this is 41 damage, right? A grounded mid-soccer kick is, I think, 16 damage, if I remember correctly, which means that if you get hit by quarter circle back 2-4, and then you get hit by the mid-soccer kick, you've taken 57 points of damage. That's a lot of damage for basically nothing. Now, obviously, quarter circle back 2-4 is not hit confirmable. The second hit is a high, so you can duck it and, launch Bryan. But if he whiff punishes you with this, that's a lot of damage. That's pretty good. So I'm happy about that too. This move, who cares? Not that big of a deal. Quarter circle back 2-4, I just talked about it. Mid soccer kick, they buffed the damage from 21 to 23. not that big of a deal because you shouldn't be getting hit by this move anyways. Like, you shouldn't be getting hit by that move in a standing position. Where this is important is, I just said, right, off of this into the mid soccer kick, you would take, stop counter hitting him. He keeps trying to wake up. Okay. Let me try and get it. I left him further away. Whatever. I just said you would take 57 damage off of that entire sequence, right? Quarter circle back 2-4 into mid soccer kick. Because they've buffed the damage on mid soccer kick by 2, that's going to affect the scaling, which means that the grounded mid soccer kick is not going to deal 16 damage anymore. It might deal like 17 damage. So you're gonna take 58 damage, which is like a mini combo in itself worth of damage. That's really, really good. And it's also going to affect his counter hit mid low soccer kick or hatchet kick, whatever. Really good. And then the last one is the new move. I don't really know what this is about. Full crouch down forward 2-1. I believe that this is going to be used as a way to punish slides because right now Northern Cross doesn't really work. It's too high of a hitbox. So full crouch down forward 2-1 I believe is going to be the option to go to now. And it might also work in situations like Armor King does blackjack combo. You interrupt the second and third hit with a down 1 and then you need a screw there, right? So right now you have to use Northern Cross, which only deals 10 damage in that combo. But if full crouch down forward 2-1 deals more damage, then that might be an even better option to screw the opponent. There's another thing too. If full crouch down forward 2-1 is 13 frames, Bryan will have a better while standing or full crouch punish game. Because right now he has while standing 4, which is 16 damage, while standing 3, which is 18 damage, leaves him at +4. And after that he doesn't have anything until we get to while standing 1, right? That's 15 frames. But if he blocks something like a stature kick, he will now have, if it's 13 frames, right? He will now have access to full crouch down forward 2-1, which knocks down. It might be more damage. I mean, I would imagine it's more damage than 18 damage, right? Knockdown, more damage, 13 frames, give it to him. That's going to be sick. So, yep. I look forward to seeing all the tier whores jump on Bryan. I don't think he's going to be top tier. I think he's going to be a lot better, though, which is nice. And is there anything else I want to say? No, I'm just hyped for Tuesday. I'm hyped for Season 3. I'm really looking forward to trying Bryan out. I'm looking forward to trying out a lot of the other characters. I'm very happy that Kazumi is still just as good as she was in the past because she's actually one of my favorite characters. And I'm happy that Geese counter hit down 1 into whatever doesn't exist anymore. So I don't really care about Zafina. I'll look at her. I'm really looking forward to Leroy. I also want to check out the new practice options and the replays and stuff. So yeah, expect more videos coming up soon. It's been kind of quiet over here because there just hasn't been a whole lot to talk about, but we're getting some new content, we're getting some new stuff, and I'm pretty excited.